Yo guys, Punkrat another video. So in the last video, we covered the most OP trinkets in phase 3, but it really doesn't end there. Now the trinkets might be the highlight, at least for some of you, but there's so much more out there to look forward to in terms of epic loot, epic bounty. Next one that we're gonna cover in this video is gonna be all about the weapons. So you guys know what this video is about, the most OP weapons in phase 3? Let's get into it. Now this weapon is super iconic because a lot of people transmog it in later expansions, and it was one of the early entry tier weapons that you can get for a warrior or rep paladin. It's called the Untamed Blade. 70 DPS, 22 agility, and 16 stamina. The best part about the stats are the chance on hit that has a chance to increase your strength by 300 for 8 seconds. It's basically like a trinket proc. That mixed in with Crusader gives you a total of 400 in strength in total. And imagine having Blood Fury on top of that, or even a trinket in later phases. You could pretty much go Rambo mode. Like I said, it's a really good starter weapon. It's got 70 DPS, the speed is whatever, but overall it's a good weapon. But the best part about it is just the way it looks. Let me flash it on the screen right now, guys. I mean, it is a beautiful, beautiful blade. One of the nicest in vanilla. It's clean, it's got a very dragon-esque feel to it. It's just a beauty. Now this next one of Fail Straz is really, really strong. And for the most part, a lot of people don't even know that this weapon exists from BWL. It's called the Fangblade. It's a really nice dagger that rogues are definitely going to be gunning after. It's probably one of the only daggers out there during phase 3 that's going to be able to compete with Perdition's Blade. It's got 16 agility, 13 stamina, 55 DPS, and 1.8 speed. Overall, just a really solid dagger. And once again, it looks really cool as well. It's got a similar feel actually to the Untamed Blade, I'd say. And even tanks might want to go after this. It's a pretty good tanking weapon as well. But overall, just a really solid dagger rogue main hand weapon. I've been trying to farm Perdition's Blade on my rogue for like a month now. No one else needs it in the raid, it just won't drop. So if I don't get it by then, maybe I'll get Fangblade. Alright, so this next weapon is top tier. It's got a really low drop chance, but it's one of the best offhands in the entire game, pretty much until the end of naxx, at least for non-humans. It's called Maladath, Rune Blade of the Black Flight, and again, one of the most iconic Blackwing Lair weapons out there. It's one of the most unique blades in the game, with a sort of dragon ornament enveloping the blade and protecting your hand. The reason why this is so good is that it has increased sword skill. If you're not human, you don't have the ratio to give you +5 swords. So for sword spec gnome rogues or fury warriors, everyone on horde side pretty much who wants to rock swords, this is the best offhand that you can get for a really, really long time. And it's also really good for tanks in terms of TPS. It's a little bit slow, but the sword skill I'd say makes up for that big time. And trust me, people are going to be throwing themselves at this blade when it drops. Come BWL, you can trust me on that one. So this next one, once again, surprisingly enough, it's an iconic weapon. I guess pretty much every weapon from Blackwing Lair is iconic, or maybe that's just a personal thing, since I have so many memories from this place from back in the day when I was younger. It's called Claw of the Black Drake, and this is a really cool weapon. It's actually a fist weapon, which pretty much doesn't exist until now, at least not really viable endgame ones. It's got 56 DPS, 13 strength, 7 stamina, and 1% chance to crit at a 2.6 weapon speed. Super, super, super good. The one downside, obviously, is that it's a fist weapon, so you can't combine it with any improved weapon skill. Edgemaster's Gauntlet doesn't apply to unarmed, but this provides a golden opportunity for maybe like a more casual or a second, third tier warrior within the raid to get a really nice weapon and make him happy. Or you can give it to a rogue who's focused on PvP and wants to use it for his hemo spec. It's a good weapon. It's obviously not the best. It's not going to compete with the top end swords, but the difference is honestly marginal, especially for fury warriors. And it might even be worth a little bit of DPS loss because it's one of the coolest weapons in the game. I know I keep saying that, but these weapons are all so damn cool. Look at the claw. I mean, it's one of the best fist weapons ever. This is a fist weapon that I've personally used in terms of transmog over the last couple expansions on my enhancement shaman throughout multiple different sets. It pretty much gives you dragon hands with massive glowing claws that are as intimidating as it gets. By far one of the coolest looking weapons in classic WoW. So the last weapons that I covered, we had some really nice ones and then some more average ones. But now we've made it to the final two bosses, Magus and Nefarian. And here is where you get the weapons of your dreams. First off, let's talk about Magus. The first one that he's got is the Claw of Magus. This is a really cool looking dagger. It's basically a claw, kind of similar to the fist weapon, again quite iconic. 17 intellect, 7 stamina, 64 spell power, which is way more than you've probably seen anywhere in Molten Core, of course it is, and 4 MP5. This is a pretty good weapon for a caster or even a healer. It's kind of oddly itemized, but there's not a lot of weapons to go around. Not everybody gets Mage Blade. This is a great alternative if you just don't have access to that weapon. 64 spell power is definitely nothing to scoff at. Now the next one that we got as a hunter is probably my biggest focus coming into BWL. It's called Ashretul Crossbow of Smiting. This is one of the best crossbows in the game, pretty much till late naxx. It has 45 DPS, 3.4 speed, which is one of the slowest range weapons out there, and this allows you to time your auto attacks with your aim shot so much smoother, and plus 36 attack power. The main reason why this is so good is obviously just the speed. The speed is incredible for the DPS, and then having the range attack power on top of that, by far one of the best range weapons out there for a hunter. And once you get this, you hit a massive power spike. I'd suggest to go directly into Warsong Gulch or AV, whatever your BG of choice is, and start savagely crushing fools. But that's not the peak of Magus. There's one more weapon which you guys probably all know what it is. It's called the Chromatically Tempered Sword. This is going to be the best, most highly sought after one-handed weapon for all melee out there. Right now we have Viscag and everybody wants Viscag. This replaces it, at least for rogues who are sword spec and of course human warriors, or any warrior for that fact. If you have Edgemaster's Gauntlets or Maladath in your offhand, it's just really solid. It has 14 strength, 14 agility, that's pretty much 0.75% crit for warriors, almost 1%, 7 stamina, 2.6 speed, and 58.5 DPS. It's a really strong one-hander, and it's probably one of the closest weapons that you'll get if you want to compete with someone who has, let's say, rank 14 weapons. Obviously rank 14 weapons are much better, 2.9 speed, crit, but this is pretty much the next best thing. Now some of you guys might disagree with me, but personally I like the weapon, but I'm not a huge fan of it just because I kind of think it looks a bit awkward. I don't know. You guys can form your own opinion. I'm not a super big fan of it, but it's definitely a great weapon. All right, and finally, the pièce de résistance, the final boss, Nefarian, who has by far the best loot in this entire dungeon, and of course that includes the weapons. The average item level throughout most of AQ40 is actually 76, and items off Nefarian are 83. So some of this stuff is going to last you to naxx potentially. First weapon on the list, and I'm going to cover this first because I know there's a lot of you mages and warlocks out there that are just hurting. Your soul is hurting. You see mage blades go to paladins all the time. There's potentially 10 mages in your raid and you just feel like you're never gonna get a weapon because everyone is just trying to get that one specific weapon. Well, BWL is definitely changing that. We saw the Claw of Magus, and now on top of that we have the best one called the Staff of Shadow Flame. Look at this bad boy. 29 intellect, 24 stamina, 84 spell power, and 2% chance to crit. This is much better than having a mage blade with whatever offhand you can get access to right now. Much better, and you get a ton of base stats considering it's a staff. This is what everybody's going to be going after right now in terms of a weapon. And what's also cool about it is that it looks cool. Sometimes staves can be kind of awkward depending on the design, but this one definitely nails it. It's really awesome, looks great, looks probably even better on a warlock, but it's just a great weapon all around. I'd give it a solid 9 out of 10. So the next weapon we're gonna cover is an infamous blade. Everybody knows about it. It's called Ash Candy Great Sword of the Brotherhood. 3.5 speed plus 86 attack power, that's a ton of AP, 33 stamina, that's 330 health, and the best part about it, 81.8 DPS, a similar amount of DPS to Hand of Ragnaros, except it's a sword, which I think a lot of warriors would rather. But this blade is disgusting in every aspect. It's super strong and one of the coolest looking weapons in WoW. Again, another weapon that in terms of transmog has been a staple for how many expansions now. One of the coolest looking blades out there. And need I remind you guys that this is a hunter weapon, and I should definitely be #1 prio for this in my guild. Oh, and actually mentioning my guild, we're recruiting warriors pretty heavily right now. We have so many vacant warrior slots in our raids where we just can't seem to find fury warriors. So if you guys are a fury warrior looking for a new realm, you're looking for a guild, you're on Fairlina potentially, then feel free to apply, but make sure that you're serious about playing, and we're definitely going to take you in and give you guys a nice home to raid with. My guild is Power, by the way. It's Stay Safe guild on Fairlina. So if you guys are warriors out there and you're looking for a new home, then come on over. Now this next weapon is the weapon of Shrek. Orcs die for it. It's called Cruel Sharuk Edge of Chaos. Now the reason orcs love this weapon so much is obviously because they have plus axe skill. This is the best in slot fury weapon and also the best in slot tanking weapon for an axe, at least during BWL. It's got 2.3 speed, which obviously isn't the greatest for fury, but just the fact that it's an axe and it has such high DPS it's still the best one. And of course, for tanks, it's just in a nice spot. It's 2.3, it's a little bit slow, but it's good enough, and it does so much damage that it's the best TPS weapon you can get. It's got 63 damage per second, 36 attack power, and 16 stamina. Really, really solid, and again, kind of a trend that we're seeing here in Blackwing Lair. It's beautiful. It looks really, really cool. It's a very intimidating axe, and you should be a proud wielder of it. Now, the last weapon that we're going to cover is probably one of the most iconic in terms of the lore of Blackwing Lair, and that's because it's the weapon that Nefarian actually carries. It's called LaCmere Ilromathis. This is the Shadow Priest's dream, with plus 84 spell power, raw, 18 intellect, 10 stamina, and 8 spirit. But of course, people aren't going to let the Shadow Priest take this. This is also going to be pretty much the best healing weapon as well. Maybe not for paladins, they're still going to want Mage Blade just because of the crit, but everybody else, 84 spell power is also 84 healing, and that's a really nice chunk. It's almost 100. So Shadow Priest, Druid, Healing Priests, Shamans, and of course paladins who don't have the Mage Blade, everyone's going to be gunning after this. It's a really cool weapon, and once again, it looks so damn cool. Check out this weapon, another one that people have been transmogging throughout the expansions. Alright, so there you have it. Those are all of the weapons that you can get in Blackwing Lair. There was a couple okay ones, and I feel like the video just escalated and got to these epic weapons that people are going to sell their mother for. Just absolutely crazy. And the best part about it is that so many of these weapons are iconic. I feel like that's pretty much not true for a lot of the stuff within Molten Core, but these are weapons that are going to make you feel and look so damn legendary. And I feel like that's a big part of getting really attached to your character, and that gets more and more true throughout the game of Classic until you're wielding a Corrupted Ashbringer or a Might of Menethil. Am I right, boys? We have all these weapons, we have Thunder Fury, we have the trinkets, we have so much out there to look forward to in terms of legendary bounty. So good luck to you guys in your raids, and hopefully you can get the weapon of your dreams. Now, if you like this video and you want to see more like it, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, of course, you know the drill, soldiers. Hit the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a new video straight out of the render oven. And with that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.